Welcome back. On the Do Now today, you are explaining the Bill of Rights. We talked about the Bill of Rights yesterday. These were the first 10 amendments. Remember, an amendment is like a change to the Constitution, and it either protects freedoms or it changes the way the government works. So, when the Constitution was written, they required the Bill of Rights to be included because they wanted to stop the government from abusing their power. So, they listed off 10 ideas and freedoms they wanted protected. So some examples of this would be like the First Amendment, freedom of speech, Second Amendment, right to bear arms, and so on. We are going to go over a lot of those rights and amendments over the next few weeks. Today we're going to start with the First Amendment. Here is the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law establishing a state religion or prohibit the free exercise of religion, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right to peaceably assemble and petition the government. So if we think about what sort of freedoms are being protected, there's a lot in this one sentence. So there's the freedom of religion, there's the freedom of speech, there's the freedom of the press, the freedom to peaceably assemble, and the freedom to petition the government. So there's 5 major ideas. Today and tomorrow we're going to be kind of breaking down these major ideas and then talking about how they impact us today and some controversies around them. So we'll start with the first one listed, which was the freedom of religion. There are 2 parts to our freedom of religion. Part 1 is the government will not create a state religion or favor one religion over the others. So the United States government is not religious. It's not supposed to be. Now, the majority of people in the United States are Christian, some denomination of Christian, but the U.S. government is supposed to be no religion. Now, this becomes a little controversial because we have things like under God on our money. Although it doesn't say which God, it does imply that there's sort of a religion there. And Christianity has had a big impact on our government. But in theory, the government should not have any formal religion and force it on you, as well as the second part, which is the government cannot stop you from choosing your own religion. You can practice whatever religion you want, and the government's not going to stop you. Next, we have the freedom of speech. All right, this is interpreted today as the freedom to express yourself, to express your opinion. You have political opinions, you have other opinions, you are allowed to express those. Now, there are some restrictions. All right, you can't cuss out kindergarten classrooms. All right, you can't publish lies about people. You can't say things that cause people to get hurt. All right, so there are some restrictions, but essentially you can have whatever opinion you want. What we should note is that this is freedom from the government. All right, you have freedom of speech from the government. You're not going to prison for things you say. That doesn't mean there's no consequences. You can definitely get fired for things you say. You can definitely lose friends. You can get in trouble with other people. You might get beat up for stuff you say, right? There are definitely consequences, but the government won't punish you for what you say. Freedom of speech also includes what we call symbolic speech. So sometimes your actions, refusing to talk, is all considered freedom of speech. Your artwork is speech. Right? Even though you're not actually saying it, your written word is speech. So it's not just what you say, it's how you express your opinion is protected as free speech. Next component, we have freedom of the press. This means news outlets are free from the government control. The government doesn't tell the news what to say. You go to other countries, this is not the case. China, North Korea, Russia, the government tells the news what to say to the people. The media is also free to report their opinions on the government. This gets a little confusing when we talk about social media. Is the social media part of the news? Right, are they allowed to share stories independent of the government? Our last 2 are usually clumped together. Freedom of assembly means your right to associate with other people to hold protests, to gather outside public buildings. Then petition is the right to demand change from the government. So when you put these two together, it's what a protest looks like. So they don't necessarily have to be together, but we usually associate these two together, that you have these freedoms. We're going to watch a video that summarizes some of the First Amendment. So you can pause this video while we watch that one. Next, we're going to log on to the Pear Deck, and we're going to write our opinions on different things. Which of these components do you think is the most important, and why? Again, pause this video as you type your response. Next, which one of these is least important? Last, to what extent does the First Amendment protect against tyranny? All right, where on the scale is it? Is it completely protect? Does it mostly protect? Does it barely protect? Where are we putting it, or does it fail to protect? All right, so where would you put it and why? For activity today, we got a short reading about the First Amendment. Your goal is to be summarizing. We're going to try and summarize each component of the First Amendment. What does it do? What does it protect? And then I want you to list off some examples of people exercising that First Amendment.